Well, that one, it's interesting because it'll be interesting to see if people like choose to go straight to the Aramaic versus not spending a lot of time in the Hebrew, because really they're meant to be married together. And so, where the Spirit leads you, it made sense to me to start with the Hebrew first, especially because that's where Mother starts teaching from in the linear fashion. External world orientation, divine masculine, because that's where we've been in, right? We've been in a very heavy, dominant, divine masculine world that's actually been inverted and perverted. That's the trouble, is that it hasn't really been the divine masculine. It's been masculine dominant as a patriarchy, but it got inverted. And so Mother has to reorient ourselves again, why Yahshua came, right? Because he had to reorient ourselves to what that really looked like as being a mother, to present the divine masculine in a linear fashion so he could take him into the divine feminine, trying to take that inversion and flipping it upright. And so that's why Hebrew should come first before that in our maturation process, because the language is about individual ascension, maturation. Really, what would you like to see out of our meeting today? Anything in particular?
For me to see how, really to grasp what this is actually, what this is saying, this, like how does joy and endurance go together?
Okay.
And I've been contemplating how Jesus or Yeshua had to be so fully present in love, to not take on offense, to not take on any outside anything. To do what he did when he was here. So anyway, I'm just, yeah.
So this word is joy, gladness, and rejoicing. Those are the three that have been translated. It comes from a root that means to be glad, joy, and rejoice. And it's a CHADA. CHADA is how you say it, and it's used as a greeting. So I love that, because here we know that we usually say shalom, right? But this is a word that is used as a greeting. CHADA, which is to be glad and to have joy and rejoice. So if that's something you want to adopt, I think I'm going to adopt. I haven't looked at this word particular for, so this is new to me. And I love that. Joy and rejoice used as a greeting. So.
And what are the letters that spell it?
It's Het, Dalet, Aleph. That is interesting. The reason why I'm saying it's interesting, because first time my eyes are on this. So what we just saw here, if it's Het, Dalet, Aleph, what happened here? What got added? Can you see? Do you want me to make it? Does it help?
The Vav and the Tet.
The Vav and the Tav were added, exactly. So because they were added in the center of the word, this is connected to your heart. Of course, that makes sense, right? That absolutely makes sense, because that's where joy comes from.
Yeah.
It's not a head thing, it's a heart thing. Oof, I feel that already. Wow.
So whenever so when there's letters entered into the center of the word, then that means is that what you're saying? That's when it's a heart thing.
Mm-hmm. This has to do with your soul. This has to do with the place where Source dwells in you, where the real you is. In the Hebrew concept, the heart, the leb, is considered the inner man. And the inner man is your mind, your will, and your emotions. They don't necessarily think much of your kidney being up on top. They don't think of your head. It's all, the Eastern concept is all from the place of the heart. Right? Because really the head is what projects the outward reality that is then manifested from that which comes from the heart. So yes, this is a heart issue here. This is joy is being presented. And so what I see, well, let me ask you, when you see Vav Tav, based on your understanding, what is that saying to you in the moment? What do you see with the Vav Tav? How does that speak to you, knowing that it's in with the heart? Based on your knowledge of the letters. Vav would represent?
What immediately comes to me, what immediately comes to me is Vav as the tent peg. So being anchored in my heart. And actually with the tav there, I see that like the end also, and then the aleph. So it's almost like from the end, from the beginning, it's been rooted and anchored in my heart.
That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful.
So it's not joy I have to get, it's joy I get to remember.
Exactly, because the end and the beginning, you know, in the end, it will be revealed that which was from the beginning that is already connected to you on the inside, right? So just in the heart, you have connect to the covenant.
Yes.
Tav means covenant, right? So it's covenant, also has a meaning of signature, fingerprint, the end. So it's what it's sharing with you. From my perspective, what you said was beautiful. I love that. In fact, I'm so excited that I've got this recorded on my side too, because if I can have your permission, I would love to share that. I would love to share just this little snippet for people to see and I'm going to put it on the stand. I'm not going to put it on my main page. It's only going to be people that are wanting to be on the language side. I would love to share that little snippet of what you just said, so people can see your heart in interpretation.
Yes, you have my permission.
Okay, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful, stunning. So for me, when I look at this as well, I see it's saying our heart must be connected to the covenant on the inside. The covenant has to do with our heart. It doesn't have to do with the external orientation, because that's really the completion of the work, is taking the external from mother and father and their covenants and bringing them into the place of the center of our being. And that's why the Aleph manifests. It's the fullness of the Aleph, because the Aleph was already there. Like joy is already there. Like you said, we have to discover it. But in order to manifest it, we have to connect to our heart through the covenant. And that's what makes joy be present. You don't connect to the heart, you can't present joy. So again, the root is that lump of clay that is waiting for something to happen to activate it. I'm going to share with you a word that has been added in here that you wouldn't see. And this, I got tickled when I saw this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Okay. Het Dalet. Are you familiar with the word echad? Have you heard of the word echad before? It's okay if you haven't.
I've heard it, but I have heard of it, but I don't remember I just remember what it is.
Echad is the word that means one, to unify. Now, the difference in Hebrew and Aramaic, and this is what's so amazing. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. All right, champagne's coming out. The root of this word, the Het Dalet Aleph, has the same gematria as Echad. Just the letters are in different order. So Echad would have the Aleph in front. It would be Aleph, Het, Dalet. That's the Hebrew perspective. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Oh, okay. So Het, Dalet, Aleph is then the morphing now to Aramaic. So now we see the union between Hebrew and Aramaic in this one word. And it's connected to joy. I love it. So Echad means to unify, to join. It also means the number one. So if you remember, if you have heard before the Shema, that like the Messianic community, Hebrew roots community, they will sing, and it has the word echad, God is one, right? Well, they have a very limited perspective to say God is one, meaning there's only one God, instead of embracing what is really being said. So in the Shema, they say that God is one here. They say that God is one. Well, the Het Dalet Aleph, which is the Aramaic of this, it's just in an opposite order. So the Aleph moved from the front of the word in Hebrew to the back of the word. So Echad is letting us know, Aleph, Het, Dalet, that there's a oneness that is meant to bring forth life if we enter the door. And the door, the Dalet, is always representative of the heart. So in this places, it's saying In the beginning, because Aleph is in the beginning, a strong leader who has been separated is going to find life by going through the door of their heart. When it moves into Aramaic, now we have joy. So if you've done that process in the beginning by doing this and finding life because you went through the door, which is your inner man, it has to do with your heart, then you're going to do what? You're going to manifest the Aleph on the suffix side because it is Father's pleasure to have joy come through you because you went through the process in the beginning of, first of all, seeing yourself as separate to find life by going into the door, so you're rewarded with joy. And we know that as part of one of the fruits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Aramaic expression by its static form is here, chad. So I love the fact that chad means one and unified in Aramaic. Yet as a greeting, we say CHADA, which means we are one, so be full of joy. Mm-hmm. Isn't that incredible? Like, that's super exciting for me to see that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
So joy comes from the place of oneness unity.
Beautiful.
I know, so incredible. Oh my gosh, so beautiful.